Ahoy! And welcome to Manning Overboard. Happy Hour with Hotcakes and the Captain. A show about the good in liquid life.
Where we talk about bars, bartending, and booze.
She's Hotcakes.
And he's the Captain.
Thanks for coming aboard. Now, let's go overboard. Oh.
Cocktail!
Ahoy and welcome to Manning Overboard. Happy Hour with Hotcakes and the Captain. I am the Captain, Rich Manning, and with me as always is my lovely and beautiful wife, Heather Hotcakes.
Hi.
So, Hotcakes, what are we drinking today?
Well, as always, in honor of our guests, I made a few drinks that they have had published. For you, my love, I made Death and Glory, which is a little bit of blended malt scotch, a little bit of toasted coconut syrup, some lemon juice, curacao, egg white, and a dash of absinthe. Be sure to rinse your glass with Laphroaig before drinking. And for me,
Lovely.
I made something with a bit more of a kick. I made something that's got bourbon, mezcal, Carpano Antica, Cynar 70, and a little saline. He calls it the Heart of Stone.
Excellent.
Now, before we drink, shouldn't
Yes.
we ask what our guest is drinking maybe introduce them?
I think that is a capital idea because, my gosh, this drink looks incredible. I mean, look at the surface tension on this babe.
Oh,
on this
I know.
bad
I'm
boy.
so damn proud.
It's incredible. You should be. So, our guest today is Stuart Weaver. He is the owner and GM of the Tales-nominated bar Lady Jane in Denver. He is a Texas native who made his bones in D.C., all while getting a master's in nationalism studies, no less. And I can't wait to talk to him about that. Rather than going full bore into politics, the hospitality industry was just too much for him to resist. And he moved to Denver to open Lady Jane, a high-volume bar emphasizing innovative cocktails, a killer spirit selection like Scotch. His Scotch collection is off the charts. And a warm, inclusive vibe where anyone is fully welcome. Stuart is also certified through the Bar Smarts program and the Court of Master Sommeliers. So he knows more about wine than either of us put together.
You're a smarty pants.
Yeah. And I just recently found out that he's a rather passionate Scotch aficionado, based on the last time we were at his bar. So it gives me another reason to really like him, as if I needed another reason. So, Stuart Weaver, welcome to Manning Overboard.
Yay!
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. What are you drinking, my man?
Well, I should be drinking scotch now, shouldn't I? But I have a martini.
Perfect!
Oh, martini's great. What's your specs?
Oh, yeah. It's a 50-50 made with local gin from Leopold's Brothers.
Oh, phenomenal. Great.
Lovely. Well, cheers, my friend.
Good
Cheers.
to see you.
Oh, that's delightful.
Oh, man. That's beautiful. That's such a good... Thank you for creating this, Stuart. This is a damn good drink.
And I made plenty of the coconut syrup, so we will be making more of those for sure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so, before we get into the questions, the Laphroaig rinse, was that just the first bottle you grabbed, or did you play around with other scotches to see what would hit just right?
Laphroaig is usually my go-to for rinses. I really enjoy their 10-year cask strength.
Yeah,
and that's what we usually use at the bar for all of our rinses.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Laphroaig fan. I mean, I like Band-Aid and Tire and Corpse.
Yeah,
it's
nice. I like it all. Any scotch, give it to me.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right.
No, I just have to say, I'm so happy to have you on. We have had the honor and pleasure of being at your bar multiple times at this point. It is one of our go-tos. We have to stop by and say hello. The first time we went in, it was just a warm hug, and you weren't even there.
Yeah.
We had not even met you yet. And it was a delight. And your staff and your team were so delightful. It was a busy Saturday, and they had their bar ears on, and they were hustling and bustling, and they took care of us very well. And it was just a delight. And so it was nice to finally meet you when we finally did, and just to sing your bar's praises.
Yeah.
And it's been nice to be able to get to become a friend ever since then.
Yeah, I mean, I like what she says. I mean, you had our heart before you met us, and it was incredible. And then when we met you and just saw what an incredible human being you are, I mean, that just was like the final cherry on top. So yeah,
Thank you so much.
whenever people say, "Hey, we're going to Denver. Do you know any place to go?" Lady Jane is always on the top of our list. So just I mean, between you and Yacht Club and some of the other bars that are within your neighborhood, which we'll talk about in a second, Denver's such a killer scene, and you're a big part of it.
What actually
It
led
really,
you to Denver?
well, I was in DC for about like 13 years. And, at that point, it was time to go. I don't like to be in one space for too long. My husband and I, Scott, we just kind of like had our list of cities. We traveled around and, just Denver checked all the boxes.
Okay. What were the boxes that you always want to check off? I think I know, but what are the boxes that you like to check off?
I only had really one big box, and that was mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, I love the mountains so much. Get up there and hiking. For me and Scott, though, we wanted a city that had a really nice hospitality scene. Whenever I was going out to visit Denver, I actually staged just for fun at a restaurant while I was there, Tavernetta, and it blew me away. It was amazing.
Nice.
One of Bobby Stuckey's restaurants, yeah.
Lovely.
And oh yeah. And then I was like, all right, cool. We went to Williams and Graham, and I was like, all right, done. We're going.
Nice. And now you're part of that whole neighborhood with Williams and Graham and Occidental. And
I
that
am, yeah.
actually leads to a perfect question. Obviously, within that you're 200 yards away from each other. I checked it out on Google Maps. So within 200 yards, you have 3 Tails nominated venues. So are people surprised that 3 acclaimed bars are so close to each other in a city like Denver?
I think people are ever surprised. I think they enjoy the convenience of it.
Okay, yeah.
Like Lohi, the neighborhood that Lady Jane and Williams and Graham are in is called Lohi, which stands for the Lower Highlands. And if people, it's kind of like out of the way a little bit. It's not like downtown, and so when people come up to Lohi, everyone does the bang bang, and they hit up both Lady Jane and Williams and Graham and Occidental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love everyone over there, and they love us, and it's just it's so great to have such close friends so close.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's great too because 3 completely different bar styles, all held together by really solid hospitality, and it's just a really cool ribbon of vibe that goes through the 3 of your bars. It's really incredible. So, I do want to talk a little bit more about your bar. In the past, we've referenced Lady Jane as a non-gay gay bar, because it has such a safe, inclusive space, which is a big reason why Lady Jane has our heart, because of your commitment to inclusivity and all of that. That's so important. It's easily one of the most inclusive bars we've ever been into. How much do your guests pick up on that vibe?
Oh, we get it a lot because I mean, I'm there, and also. uh, we got the flags around.
Yeah.
And I don't know, people walk in and they just feel it, and they're like, some people just like look around and they're just like, is this a gay bar? And I'm
Do
just
they
like,
clutch their pearls?
and I'm like, yeah.
All right.
I mean, I like to call us an honorary gay bar.
Okay.
Okay.
And a lot of bars, they're kind of like, they're gay friendly, but I like to describe us as straight friendly.
Nice.
I like that.
Really good.
I like that as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I now have a new term with which to describe you, because I like that. I think that's good. I want to come on one of your dressed up Halloween parties, because you all go to town. Yeah. If you follow them on Instagram, if you follow them on the socials, it's a freaking party. Stuart and the team definitely know how to do it up. What has been your favorite theme?
We've done so many. I think my favorite one, if I'm thinking about like my outfit, would
Of
be
course.
our Schitt's Creek theme.
Okay.
Okay.
I dressed up as Moira Rose as the Pope. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with Schitt's
Yes.
Creek, but it was amazing, and I enjoyed it.
Do
One of
you
our
think?
more recent,
Well, go ahead, hon.
another more recent one that we did was Rocky Horror Picture Show, and that
Yes.
was another really fun.
That was brilliant.
Do you think that because gay bars are often seen as a good place to have a good time, but not necessarily a good place to have a good cocktail? Do you think that Lady Jane is changing that dynamic? Do you wish that that Lady Jane could be a new model for the LGBTQ plus style bar? Or do you think there's a place for both?
I definitely think there's a place for both.
Okay.
Like I grew up in gay bars. Like I love gay bars. I would never, they're forever in my heart, and I still go to them, and I still feel incredibly welcome and wonderful. And it's just like a safe space. It's like the beginning of safe spaces, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And it's a shrine to like gay culture, and it protects our culture, and it protects us. But I also think that there's something to be said about visibility and spreading the joy of gay culture. And I really enjoy Lady Jane for that aspect, because we share it with anyone that comes in the door.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't say by any means that like a majority of our clientele is LGBTQIA+, but it is still an incredibly welcoming and wonderful space in terms of, having a gay friendly space or a straight friendly space that has, really great cocktails and a really great ambiance. I think more of those need to be popping up around the country. I want to see more inclusive spaces like ours that accept everybody into one space to be ourselves together.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you pull that off so well. And the one thing that you really do well with that, Stuart, is it's there, but it doesn't feel like you're hitting people over the head with it. You just let it happen organically. And I think that makes it easier for everybody to embrace your vibe, which is great. And I think that's part of the thing of like saying, yeah, this is society. This is normal. This is how society works, and society should work, particularly in a social setting. So hats off to you with that.
Do you think your master's in nationalism, politics, and such has a ribbon in your vision in that space?
I don't know. I think my master's, like my studies in particular, like especially across Europe, definitely got me interested in geography and especially in spirits.
Okay.
And like the culture behind spirits, and like also how they impact, people's lives and so forth and so on, and traditions. But in terms of nationalism impacting the bar, like I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. What was,
Sure.
just out of curiosity, what was your thesis on? Or did you have to do a thesis?
Yeah, I did. My thesis was, so this is back in 2011.
Okay.
Right after Kosovo declared independence in 2008.
Okay.
And so my thesis was on Serb nationalism.
Oh.
And its
wow.
impact. Yeah,
Very interesting.
It was Serb nationalism and its impact on Serbia's EU accession process.
Interesting. Wow. That's heavy.
Okay. I knew you were a smarty pants, but I didn't realize you were that much of a smarty pants.
Yeah.
Like, my appreciation grows for you every time I have a conversation with you, Stuart, because you're a hidden gem. No, seriously. Like, you are so intelligent and so warm and so kind. And like every time I learn something new about you, I am more and more impressed.
Yeah.
So well done, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And speaking of things that I learned, you're quartermaster sommelier, the certification. I had no idea, and that's so good. I mean, and it's funny because it's like I know like you're a Scotch guy, and I know all your spirits because your back bar is just loaded with incredible. But now I kind of want to like nerd out with you over a couple glasses of wine and just go over that.
Yeah,
So
let's do it.
yeah, now do you does that help you build innovative bar menus, particularly since wine is such a sneaky good and ubiquitous ingredient in cocktails?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing that I took away from my wine studies, and then they haven't stopped yet, but
Yeah.
was tasting and trusting your palate and listening to yourself. Like I get so many bartenders who are just like, I don't know how to taste, or like, and I'm just like, yes, you do. Everyone can taste. It's all sense memory. Like trust yourself, trust what you're smelling and tasting. Don't let anybody else tell you what to think. And that really helps us with like cocktail development. But I still have a lot of fun with using weird wines and fortified wines in our cocktails. One of my bartenders, Mac, right now is working on a really fun amphora aged martini that's going to utilize
Ooh.
Retsina.
Oh,
That's
fun.
cool.
Mac just got nominated for something, didn't they?
Mac just got a finalist for Punch's Best New Bartender of 2025.
That's right. And congratulations,
Mac also
Mac.
just
That's
won
awesome.
regional Denver Speed Rack. So, I'm just a proud bar dad over here.
You all have been killing it.
Yeah.
I mean, you are not only your bar team, you get to go to Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Because you might have won a competition for that recently.
Yes, first time I ever entered a competition and I win. So now I'm kind of like kind of terrified, but it's going to be great.
You could always just retire and say, "Yeah, I have a winning percentage of 1,000." Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm the man. So yeah.
That was the first time you had entered a competition?
First time.
You've always then just been the coach or the cheerleader?
I've just never had any time, and
Fair.
any of my bartenders that enter competitions, I'll taste and I'll talk them through, and we'll go through all the cocktails and what to do and all that stuff. But this was the first time I personally actually entered a competition, and I was encouraged to do so, and yeah, it turned out great.
Apparently.
Yeah. Pretty good, yeah.
Just a trip to Paris.
Yeah.
Nothing much.
Yeah.
Hey, it's the global finals, so I still gotta do good.
All right, yeah. And at this point, you know who you're facing off against. So, is there anybody that you're like, oh, I'm facing off against that person? Crap.
No, because they're all. I'm the only one from the United States, so it's everyone. It's international.
Okay.
Great. Super cool.
That's exciting.
Now let's pull this back in from a global perspective to a local one. Particularly because I know you're a big fan of the local Denver distillery, the Family Jones.
I am, yeah.
Yes, and I know you and I talked about that for a while. I know that you use their spirits in your cocktail program. Do you see their use of? Do you use their spirits to help further amplify the excellence of the Denver bar scene and also the excellence of the Denver area distilling scene? Because there's some heavyweights that you have in that part of the state.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've got some amazing spirits coming out of Denver and the mountains.
Yeah.
Family Jones for one. Leopold's is another one of my favorites. We've got Laws, Woody Creek.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really go wrong. They're all amazing.
Yeah.
I think I utilize a lot of Family Jones at the bar. They do some really cool spirits. Like one we use in a signature martini that we do. They have an Earl Grey gin, but it's not like a gin infused with Earl Grey. It's a gin that is aged in barrels that used to hold Earl Grey tea.
Oh, fun.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've also done a Pachuga style rum with a pig. I've
Yeah,
done
I
a couple
think they
cocktails
use
with that
like
guy.
barbecue meats, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, we dig the Family Jones too. We were there the last a couple times back when we were in Denver, and we sat at the bar and we were drinking through some of their stuff, and they're great. And then you mentioned Law's Distilling. We're big fans of Outlaws. That guy's great.
Mhm.
And, have you been to their new tasting room yet?
No, I haven't. It's a shame on me. I need to go. It's beautiful.
It's
Yeah,
stunning.
it's stunning.
We were there before. Hadn't finished it yet, but we got to see like a little preview of it, and just the staircase and the windows that they've got going on up there.
And the Whiskey Church room. I mean, come on, that's brilliant. And
so
yeah.
So I have to talk about the cocktail that just came off the menu, because the One-Eyed Devil.
I was so sad that you heard that it was off the menu.
I just broke his heart, because I told him, I'm like, it just came off the menu. So the One-Eyed Devil was the cocktail based off of a deviled egg. For those of you who have not heard, complete with a cured egg yolk on top. I know what inspired it, your love of deviled eggs, but like, how long was the process of getting it to where you wanted it to be? Because it was delicious. It was absolutely for a specific person, someone who loved deviled eggs. It was not for the faint of heart. It was not for somebody who didn't love deviled eggs or that style of flavor. How well did it go over? How long did it take for you to convince everybody that this was a good idea? All of the things. I loved it, obviously. But talk to me about that cocktail.
It went over really well, actually.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, I mean, we do very strange and experimental cocktails on the menu. We always have a couple at a time. And so people know, like our guests know, that they're going to come in and they're going to try something really innovative and something really weird that pushes the boundaries a bit. And this is definitely one of those cocktails.
Sure.
So we all know to screen people to be like, hey, are you ready for this? And then when we find the right person that's ready to order it, they love it. The One-Eyed Devil it took a very long time to develop that cocktail. Originally, I wanted to, make it a clarified cocktail and use like the egg yolk as the clarifying agent, but that didn't really work out. And so I pivoted and turned it into a flip.
Yeah.
And then from there, like with a lot of like tropical, like tiki influences, I wanted to pull it all together, but also not have any sort of like meat in it. I don't know if I'm from Texas, and they put meat on everything. So like deviled eggs are just showered in bacon bits.
Sure.
Sounds about right.
So I wanted to avoid that, but I brought the meat flavor in with a like hickory chips.
Yeah.
We would take hickory chips and we would torch them, and then we made a syrup out of that as like the main base of the cocktail with Santa Teresa rum and Dickel 8-year bourbon. I did a Caribbean jerk spice tincture. There was egg yolk in there, no white, and shake the whole thing up. Top it off with a cured egg yolk and some spicy chive dust.
It was
brilliant,
stunning.
And we were there the last time we were at Lady Jane. I had that cocktail. We were with 3 of our friends, and we kind of all passed it around, and it was great to watch all of them have their minds blown. It's like,
they all lost their shit.
What is this?
They all lost it. It was fantastic.
It was great to watch. And then my buddy discovered that you were a Scotch guy and drank a bunch of stuff, and we had to sober him up at the ramen joint next door. Speaking of your collection, that was a segue.
That was a segue?
That was a segue, yes.
Okay.
Because you have a hell of a bottle collection at Lady Jane. That's the first thing I noticed when the first time we walked in there a few years ago. We're like, holy crap. It was one of those like, yeah, I'm going to film the bar and send this over to my whiskey nerd friends because they need to see what's going on in Denver. How much of that collection is a reflection of your passion for spirits, particularly Scotch?
100% of it is. The back bar is my baby. I've been curating it for the last 6 years, and things come and things go. And it I like the weird stuff. I like stuff that's different. Things that I can introduce to our guests, like smaller brands, just like really solid spirits that they may or may not have heard of before. And it takes a lot of education with the team, but it's really fun to be able to give something new to people that they've never really necessarily had before.
Yeah.
Scotch in particular, I get very nerdy about. It has its own separate wall. I'm sure you've seen.
Mhm.
But we've got limited space for storage. I don't like to do the bottles behind each other. I like just one single row, so
Mhm.
everything gets its due limelight. So I usually get like 30 bottles per Scotch, and that's not enough.
I was gonna ask, what is your favorite Scotch?
Ooh. Oh, that's so hard. It depends on my mood.
All right.
I think if I'm looking for something peaty, like an Isla Scotch, I'll go for Kilchoman,
Okay.
which I tasted you guys on at the bar, and it was fun.
Yes.
If I'm looking for more like Western Highlands style, then I'll go for Ardnamurchan,
Okay.
which is one of my favorites. And yeah, if I'm going more towards space side, I like Aberlour because it tastes like candy.
Yes.
Aberlour is incredible. Yeah.
So good.
I,
I buy a bottle
I,
and then
I enjoy
2 days
Everlar.
later it's
Yes.
gone.
Yes.
Where'd it go?
Okay, now switching sides, because Lady Jane also has a very lovely non-alcoholic program, which I absolutely appreciate. The last time I was there, I had a beautiful carrot cocktail that had a little bit of Pathfinder, a little bit of three spirit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it was delightful. And you have not just one, but you have multiple options for non-drinkers, for people who are choosing to not drink at the time. How important is it for you to curate options for people who are not drinking at your space?
It's incredibly important to me. I jumped on the non-alcoholic bandwagon very early on, mostly because, I view Lady Jane as a very welcoming space and a very safe space for everybody, whether or not you have a drink in your hand or not. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I want someone to be able to come and have a great time, hang out with their friends, and not feel pressured to drink an alcoholic cocktail if they don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And over the last 6 years, we've definitely seen a development of non-alcoholic spirits, and it makes me so happy. And I love to support those brands, and I love to put some really cool cocktails, non-alcoholic cocktails on our menu.
Yeah.
I made a point of putting the non-alcoholic cocktails on the very front of the menu, right in everybody's face, just as big as the main cocktails, just so, they're there and they don't feel like it's like a second thought, or, that they have to like look for the cocktails.
I love that.
And that's really great because, I mean, we've had this conversation before. It's like any good bar worth their salt needs to really have a section of non-alcoholic cocktails for all the guests, particularly because non-alcoholic drinking is such an increasingly part of drinks culture, with zebra striping and just people that want to just experience the bar but don't want to take the night off. That's an important thing, especially with, and credit to you and your staff too for creating those non-alcoholic drinks, because I do know that non-alcoholic spirits have a different weight, a different texture, so it does take a little bit of extra prestidigitation to make that work. So really, really impressed.
And everybody wants to have a pretty drink in their hand. And once they have a pretty drink, nobody cares what you're actually drinking. Nobody's going to say, "Oh, what's that? Are you drinking alcohol?" They just want to have a pretty drink in their hand. No one cares.
Yeah. And like, that's why I like to have like a whole bunch of options. People that come in who just drink non-alcoholic drinks on the regular, they're always just like, thank you so much for not just having a cocktail that's like citrus and some sort of syrup, because it just like, you can only drink so many of those.
Yeah.
And putting together like the stirred non-alcoholic cocktails is particularly fun. We've got our pineapple Negroni, and it's a staple on the menu that's not going anywhere because it's so good. And I drink it all the time.
I love that.
No, that's great. That's awesome.
I love that. All right.
Yeah.
I think final question. Where do you see Lady Jane growing in the next 5 years? Because you're going to be around for a while. Where do you see Lady Jane growing?
I mean, it's Lady Jane is, it's a beast of a program. We're changing our cocktails all the time. The back bar is stocked so much that I can do almost every classic cocktail you can possibly imagine. And it takes all of my energy. But, one day I do want to, expand, open another concept. It's not going to be a Lady Jane. It'll be a different concept.
Okay.
But, we're moving. Lady Jane is not going anywhere. She is a staple in the community now, and has been for a handful of years now, powering out some of the most talented and skilled bartenders in Denver.
Absolutely.
I make it a point to teach everyone all the skills that they need to know, so that whenever they leave Lady Jane, if and when, they will be able to go and run a very successful program on their own.
I love that.
That's so good.
Do you have I said that was the last question, but do you already have many programs popping up? Do you have people that have gone on to start their own programs?
It's starting. I knew it was going. I knew it was coming. But I've been running that for about 6 years now, and they're starting to pop up. I've got a bartender running a program across town. I've got another bartender who's planning on opening up her own bar soon.
Fantastic.
And it just makes me so happy. Another proud bar dad moment.
Absolutely.
That's so cool. I mean, I love that. Love that so much. All right.
Yeah. Honestly, Stuart, you know how much you have my heart. You.
Yeah, we champion you at every corner.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a special place in our heart. And if ever you come out to California, you have a place at our table. You have a place at our home. And we would love to have you here.
And I may have a bottle of scotch that you can't get in the U.S. So there's your added incentive.
All righty.
Find me there.
All right.
Before you leave, though, we always have our guests highlight their city, because we like to know where we should go, because our guests are from all around the country. And we want to know, if we were sitting at your bar and this was last call, or this was the end of the happy hour, and we were the first time in your city, we would want to know certain things. So these are our last call questions. So question number 1, I'm new in the city. After a cocktail at this bar, where is my next stop that I should go get a drink?
Well, I was talking about the Bang Bang earlier, so I would immediately send everyone over to Williams and Graham. But we have, after Williams and Graham, of course, we have a new addition to our neighborhood. So now it's a Bang Bang Bang, because I'm sending you guys up to Semi-Precious.
Oh, Semi-Precious, yes.
Yes.
For Thunderbolt in Los Angeles.
I love them so much. They opened last week. Blow my mind. I love them. They're on my drive home, so I'm there all the time.
Excellent. Love that.
All right. Where am I getting a burger in town?
So I'm a big fan of smash burgers, and my go-to Denver burger is a local chain called Snarf Burger.
Nice.
Snarf
Burger.
Okay.
Snarf Burger. It's amazing. I'm obsessed. I am like a poster boy for Snarf Burger, and I advocate for them at every turn.
Fantastic. Well, you just had me at the name. I mean, Snarf Burger. I mean, come on.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. I have an afternoon to kill. What am I doing? I realize it's Denver. It's huge, but what am I doing?
If I had an afternoon and morning to kill, I would drive out to the mountains. I would go for a hike. There's so many incredible hikes that are literally an hour and 15-minute drive away from Denver. And they're absolutely stunning. You're here in the Rocky Mountains. You need to go see them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
What is a cocktail currently on your menu that I should not miss?
Ooh. Our menu changes all the time. So, we've got our signature cocktails. We've got my newest one. Every spring, I'm obsessed with peas. And so every spring I put a pea cocktail on the menu.
Oh.
And this year's pea cocktail is called Dragonfly. It's a snap pea infused Hendrick's gin and pisco based with guanabana, pink peppercorn, verjus, and lime, and then it's all force carbonated.
Oh my gosh, that sounds ridiculous.
That sounds beautifully refreshing.
Yeah. No.
It's very tasty, but it'll probably be gone in like a month or two because it's spring.
And so you made me think of something. Obviously obsessed with peas, like you said. Have you ever tried to make a cocktail with a fiddlehead? Considering how the fiddleheads are like blinking you miss it kind of a season.
I have. It's not very practical because the season is so small.
Right.
Coming from DC though, I have done a ramp cocktail.
I was going to say ramp
ramp,
cocktails.
yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That was a really fun cocktail. I made it in like a ramp oil to top off that cocktail, so it was able to last a couple months.
A little bit longer.
So cool. Yeah. So cool.
Ramp period.
Where's a place I should eat in Denver?
My favorite is, unsurprisingly, just down the street from Lady Jane. It's Alma Fondafina.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Great spot.
Says the people based in Southern California. It's a beautiful Mexican restaurant. Delightful and delicious. Gorgeous guacamole. Which as a guacamole snob, it was delicious. It was so freaking good.
It's so good.
Brunch spot,
yes. You cannot miss Champagne Tiger. Not only because the name is amazing, but the food is amazing, the staff is amazing. It's I would put it on the same level as Lady Jane when it comes to queer spaces open to all.
Okay. Fantastic.
Very cool.
And where am I going for a beer and a shot? It's the end of the night. Beer and a shot.
At the end of the night, somehow, I don't know how this happens, but I just find myself at Yacht Club. Every time.
Of course.
As one does.
Yeah.
As one does.
I mean, I often go much beyond their beers and shots and drink their amazing cocktails, but the beers and shots are also, top notch.
Oh, yeah. That's the beautiful thing about that. You can have one of those incredible drinks, but then you can have a hot dog and a Gatorade, which is just so good. So that's awesome. Well, on that note, Stuart, thank you so much for joining us today on Manning Overboard. I hope you had as much fun as we did. And seriously, we freaking love you.
We adore you.
And we're thrilled. It's such an honor to have you on the show. And it's an even bigger honor to call you our friend.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
I love you guys.
Yeah. Now, if people want to find you on the socials, where should they look?
Yeah, they can go to Instagram. That's kind of like where everything works. Either Lady Jane Denver, or they can go to my personal Instagram, which is Stuart WVR.
Particularly if you want to see him shirtless.
Hey,
He likes to hike without his shirt on. I mean, I'm not going to not say that.
No. Taken all of nature.
Fair. All right. And remember, we can be found at Manning Overboard on Instagram, or shoot us a line at manningoverboard@gmail.com for questions or comments. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody, and we look forward to joining you with our next happy hour. Cheers. And I would cheers you, but once again, I'm out of a cocktail.
Perpetually.
This is part of my shtick now. So
cheers, my friends.
Cheers.
Manning Overboard, Happy Hour with Hotcakes and the Captain is produced and distributed by EatsDrinksTV.
A service of the nonprofit Center for Culinary Culture, home of the cocktail collection,
The Center for Culinary Culture,
telling the story of food and drink, one taste at a time.